Well, in May, Forbes said this guy was worth $150 million bucks. But now 50 Cent doesn't have two quarters to rub together, at least if you believe his bankruptcy filing. He says he's buried in $50 million of debt. What's going on? Senior editor at Forbes, Zack O'Malley Greenburg, joins me now. He wrote the Jay-Z biography, Empire State of Mind. Zack, good to talk to you. Here's my question. Is 50 Cent poor?
Poor, no. Cash poor, maybe.
Okay, so when he says, I have to file for bankruptcy, we've just heard him on a press junket. He's promoting his new film, Southpaw. And he told E! News, I'm taking the precautions that any other good business person would take in this situation. You know, when you're successful in stuff, you become a target. I don't want to be a bullseye. I don't want anybody to pick me as the guy that they just come to with astronomical claims and go through all of that. What's he responding to?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because 50 is one of those guys who does a very good job of kind of putting his ideas out there in the media and letting people react to it. You know, he's kind of like the drunken master of publicity.
But he just lost this this invasion of privacy lawsuit. A jury comes and says, nope, you got to pay $5 million because you made public a woman's private sex tape. And all of a sudden he's filing for bankruptcy?
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing here is that 50 had a lot less cash on hand than we all really thought. He certainly has a lot of assets, right? He's got this incredibly large home in Connecticut. He's got stakes in all kinds of companies, but they're highly illiquid. You can't sell stakes in companies that aren't public yet very easily. And I think that is why he probably figured now might be a good time to declare bankruptcy.
So this is not a case like MC Hammer or other athletes and stars that we've seen in the past who just spend their way through their money and really are broke at the end. This may be about reorganizing his assets. In fact, he even says, look, while Disney's filed bankruptcy, Donald Trump has filed bankruptcy, it means you're reorganizing your finances.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Donald Trump, it's important to note that Donald Trump has never filed for personal bankruptcy like 50 is doing right now. It's always been his companies, but it's happened multiple times. And there are people and companies, you know, who emerge unscathed and, you know, in a better position after filing.
And he's saying, look, personally, I might be filing bankruptcy, but my companies, my investments are all fine. It's not going to affect my business ventures.
Well, I mean, I think that depends on, you know, how the next few weeks and months unfold, right? I mean, if he has to, you know, go through and pay anything, the money's going to have to come from somewhere. If he's got stakes in these companies, he may have to try to sell some assets. I think it's going to come down to, you know, what everybody decides those stakes are worth and whether or not he's able to sell them.
When you were doing your book about Jay-Z, what did you learn about this kind of atmosphere and whether guys who make it do end up becoming targets for people who are like, nope, I'm going to sue them and I'm going to try and get a piece of that?
Oh, I think they all definitely become targets. I mean, I think the big difference between a guy like Jay-Z and a guy like 50 Cent is that Jay-Z kind of tries to stay, you know, away from the spotlight to some extent. I mean, as much as you can when you're that level. 50 Cent goes and I think seeks it out in a certain way that kind of brings up more attention to him and maybe, you know, makes it more likely that these kinds of things will happen.
Zack, great to talk to you. Thank you for coming in.
You bet.